man, who's the old man more debate 2024, starring Joe Biden and Donald fucking Trump. I don't. This is going to be an interesting one, but before we get into it, I just wanted to say that if you want to go to hear our full menu of podcasts, you can go to GameRageMagazine.com and you can see all the different content and things that we make and produce. And if you wanted to go to follow us on social media, it's at Game Rage Magazine on Instagram and TikTok, at Game Rage Mag on Twitter/X. I'm Josh. I'm here today with my beautiful and lovely feminist wife, Katie.
Hello.
And also with Adam the Hair.
Yes, hello.
And today we're going to talk about this fucking debate, this presidential debate that just this travesty of democracy that just occurred. Yes, go ahead.
I just want to say full disclosure. I saw 10 minutes of it and I turned it off. So Katie's going to do most of the legwork here.
Fuck, dude.
Or at least I hope so.
Yeah, I think she probably will. That's probably accurate. I don't know what the fuck is wrong with everybody. Like, I don't get this at all. Anybody even wanting to vote for either of these two guys? Like, I this debate just clearly proved that neither of them are correct. That neither of them are the right choice to.
Neither of them are competent.
Correct. They're both old, senile bastards, and I don't think they should be making decisions for anyone, let alone themselves. I think that they need to have their decision power, making power taken away from them. And I don't know. I don't know what I do want to say up front. I was pissed off going into this debate because of the fact that they said that this was going to be the first debate ever in the history of debates that had commercial breaks. And I was a little pissed off about that because I don't want corporatocracy or whatever the fuck it's called sprinkled into my presidential
You know what's
debates.
interesting, though, too? Speaking of those commercials, a lot of them were about AI and how China was beating us in AI.
Oh, that's interesting.
That was one commercial. Well, I was watching on HBO Max, and that was one commercial that played every single time, if not twice. And during every commercial break is that China is beating us in AI, and we can't allow that to happen.
Well, I mean, see, and this is like the fucking conspiracy theory part, because who makes all the shit to make AI? It's Taiwan. They make all the advanced microprocessors and all that technology. They make that shit. Now, granted, we're starting to do some of that here, but if they're trying to drum up fucking support for us and getting involved in whatever China's going to do here probably pretty soon, that's probably what that was about. But nonetheless, it pissed me off because they had said that it was the council or whatever it is. It's the national. I'm trying to fucking find the name of it, but it's basically the national body that governs presidential and like political debates. There's like a body that governs them. It's like the Athletic State Gaming Commission for like boxing and shit like that, right? Like it's like that. And this was the first one where they also say CNN said, "Oh no, we're not going to follow your rules," because that is a rule that they have, that you cannot have commercials for anything during the debates. They're supposed to be straight through, solid, and that's it. Oh yeah, pull those out because we don't need that one. It is straight through, supposed to be solid, and that's it. There's no fucking commercial breaks involved in this political debate. And I think part of the reason why they did that is because both of them are fucking old and they needed to take a break. And so we got 2 commercial breaks during this, which they were like
more than that.
Oh, there's more? I thought they said there was going to be at least 2. So
no, there was like 4 or 5.
Oh, so then also, I just want to open with when they walked out, right?
Can we talk about that? Because they broke the tradition. Neither of them shook each other's hand.
Oh, that is interesting. I didn't notice that. That's very interesting. But again, also further proving the divide that exists amongst people in our country right now is these 2 assholes that are running for president they hate each other so much that they're not even willing to shake hands and do the most basic level of decorum when it comes to a political debate. You guys can't put aside your petty differences to just fucking shake hands and just say, "Hey, you know what? Let's have a good debate there, fella." That's terrible. I didn't even notice that. It's a very good observation. But one of the things I did notice is when they walked out, and when Biden walks out, he looks. And he looks over at, like, I don't know if he's looking at the moderators, but he looks at them and he does the old man shuffle where, it looks like he should be wearing slippers, and he's doing the old man shuffle, the Professor Farnsworth, if you've seen Futurama, and he's doing that, and then he points to the thing, and he does this look like, that's where I'm supposed to go, right? And then someone must have nodded at him, because then he goes, yes, yeah, thank you. And then he does it again, right? He's like, wait, here?
What is interesting about that, because remember the first thing I said, they go on, Biden will be on the left-hand side and Trump will be on the right-hand side, and that was decided by a coin toss. And then Trump was on the left, and then Biden was on the right.
That was a little weird. That was a little strange, too. I was like,
A, why does it fucking matter? Why do we need a coin toss for this? And B, you're wrong. They weren't.
That is what I said when they announced that. I'm like, who fucking cares what side they're on? What does that fucking have to do with anything?
And then they weren't on the side that they said they would be on.
True. Now, that could just be...
But if they went out of their way to tell us it'll be on the left side of your TV screen will be President Biden. And on the right-hand side of your TV screen will be former President Trump. And then they were completely switched.
Yeah.
As if we're like 5-year-olds learning colors and
shapes. Do you
shapes.
see that man right there? The Cheeto? And do you see the old dementia man? Those are the two, okay?
Do you see Grandpa standing up there? The orange Grandpa and the Crypt Keeper next to him? Yeah, go ahead. That's who's the guys. And then what was funny, too, is they had their fucking faces behind them, and they're fucking cut with the red and the blue. I'm like, what, do you think we're stupid? Obviously, I guess they do. But I can understand how it probably got fucked up, because it was a live television production, and shit happens all the time.
I just thought it was funny, though, that they went out of their way to explain it to us, and then for it to be wrong.
Yeah, and so when they were showing Biden, man, the whole time he had this look of like, huh, what? Where am I? Like that look, that old man, I'm lost look and I need help. He had that look the whole time. And it was funny because he was going in and out of it. And so then when he would be kind of salient and he'd be listening to Trump, or he'd be writing something down. And then when he went to that open mouth, huh, that look, they would immediately cut from him and they would go to show Trump. And then they would wait, they'd cut back, and he'd be licking his lips or doing something, and then he'd be looking. His mouth would be closed as if somebody was like, "Hey, close your fucking mouth, buddy! Don't fucking mouth breathe in front of the country here."
You know what's really sad? I think at this point, whoever is going to be elected is who could say a coherent sentence just once.
But you know what? That's the sad thing about this fucking country, is the fact that that's what it's come down to. We have so many goddamn brilliant minds out there, and these are the two fuckers that we have people, I don't know who, but apparently America has chosen these two fuckers. Jesus Christ.
And that's another thing. This is why I contend now and stand by this statement even further, is that our democratic system is broken. It is no longer functional. If you're telling me that these two are the best products that each side could put out to run the country, this fucking system is broken, and we need to tear it down and start over. We need to start from scratch. I don't know what the answer is. I have no fucking clue. But this further ingrains. That's the only solution to this.
Well, let me preface before I even say anything else, because I need to get it off of my chest of where I am politically. Mm. I think Donald Trump is literally Hitler reincarnate. I fucking despise this man. Mm. There is not one positive word that will ever come out of my mouth about him. Let's get that out straight. Ever since I could remember, I've always considered myself a Democrat. Up until the last 4 years. I voted for Biden last election. And now I don't even consider myself a Democrat. I just consider myself, leaning left. I can't tell you. I consider myself the activism party.
Anarchism.
I mean, really, seriously, at this point. And it's just mind-boggling to me. I was texting my girlfriend about it. When Biden won and beat out Trump the first time, I cried. I was like, yes, democracy, this is fucking amazing. And now I look back and I'm like, Jesus fucking Christ, what's wrong with our country? I mean, it'll be a cold day in hell before I will endorse Donald Trump. It's never going to happen. I think he is the biggest piece of shit human being to have ever existed in modern day history. And no one will change my mind. But God damn, Biden? Look at our economy. Look at Gaza. Look at everything. Fucking Biden, this man has fucking dementia. Pull your head out of your ass and figure this shit out. This is ridiculous.
Yeah, I don't know how they're allowing. How is this legal? This seems like elder abuse at this point. To have this guy and be parading him around as the quote unquote president, and you expect me to believe he can give me 4 more years of coherent service? There's no fucking way. There's no way.
No.
And I also don't. And yes, you do. I know you think Trump is Hitler. And like, listen, I'm not voting for Trump either. I just want to make that clear. And I never have. And I again want to make that clear so I don't get shit on by anybody. But at least our tax returns were better when Trump was around. That's all I will say. Our tax returns were fucking sweet when Trump was president. And I have respect for that. But I'm still not going to vote for him. I shouldn't have to be forced to choose between, like South Park, a douche and a turd sandwich. Like,
I saw that.
That is literally, I mean, that episode of South Park came out like, I don't know, 15 years ago maybe. And how poignant it was back then and how relevant it still is now to this day.
I mean, to see the decline of this man is almost just sad. You know, I didn't want him. I wanted Bernie. I'm still a big Bernie supporter. I love my Bernie Sanders. But like when he won the DNC, I'm like, okay, you know what? I've never agreed fully with any president ever. There's always been some things I'm like, no, it's okay. But majority of the time, I'm like, I'd say a good 90% of what you're saying, I got you. I can't even give him that anymore. I can't give him like 50%. And just to watch this man literally struggle to breathe. He's open mouth gasping for air. I'm fucking terrified. Like I saw a picture and I think it's Ralphie from Simpsons and he's sitting on a bus and it's like, it says it's American. It says, we're in danger. And I'm like, it's fucking true.
Yeah.
It's true. We're the laughing stock of the fucking world, regardless of who wins this shit.
Go ahead.
All right. I'm going to be honest. I kind of tuned out once the actual debating actually started happening, when there was rebuttals and the responses for the questions. The only thing I can concentrate on was fucking Trump's vulva, dude. Like,
It looked like a vagina.
Man, I was surprised the FCC allowed that fucking.
dude,
Hey, you know what? Chester, that's what Chester Cheetah's wife looks like downstairs, like right there. That's that orange
dude. I was like,
I kept
like,
staring
man.
at his neck too.
I know that's a jowl, but
But
like,
that doesn't look like.
Oh, can we talk about too in the very beginning when like he looked at the camera and he got introduced, he like puckered his lips and looked at the camera. He's like, I'm like, who are you trying to kiss?
It's classic Trump
Stormy
look,
Daniels
you know?
is over there, bro.
yeah, dude, what the fuck? I don't know, man.
Yeah, I couldn't stop staring at his vagina neck either.
Yeah, fucking A.
Yeah, I don't. And one of the things that I will say is, but yes, we are the laughingstock of the world. We are officially it. Like, there's no. The only reason they're not openly mocking us is because we have nuclear weapons. That's the only reason that they're
Seriously?
not, and that we have them hidden on submarines and you don't know when they're coming. Like, that's it. That's the only fucking reason nobody's doing anything. And Trump did make a good point at one point in the debate about how he didn't say it very eloquently, but he said
Does
that
he say anything
there's two
eloquently?
sides. I mean, sometimes he does, but just
shut
not.
up.
He says two sides. There's two oceans. There's two oceans. Which, yes, America has the best defense because there are two oceans that separate us from all of our enemies, essentially, and we have essentially the world's strongest navy to repel them should they want to come
You didn't,
fuck with us.
Did you hear the point about where he said the only reason that we haven't been attacked is because Putin is afraid of him, and
Well,
Kim
that's what he was saying,
Jong-un
and-
is afraid of
And
Trump
he was
as
saying
well,
that
apparently.
also he said that he threw in the thing about the oceans, which is what I was saying was like,
Yes, but-
that is a correct point. He is right 100% on that. But I think that they're kind of like, oh, wait a minute now. Fuck, who cares about the oceans? If one of these fucking old senile bastards is in charge, we might have a chance now, is what people are thinking. And I don't want to fuck around and find out. Which is why I'm voting for Ultra Guillotine 2024.
I mean, at this point,
No corruption.
I've done a
no
write-in
lies.
before. And, you know, Joshua knows this about me, as he mentioned in my intro. I am a staunch feminist, and I have been for a very long time. And part of the reason I'm so passionate about voting is because of the suffragettes and the fact that we couldn't vote for so long. So I feel like it's my duty, it's my right. Like, I have to do this for all of those before me who couldn't. But goddamn, dude. I'm going to write in, and I understand a write in is basically a no vote. But at the same time, like, I can't in good conscience vote for either of these people.
This makes me want to not vote, but I know that if I don't vote, that they'll just click one of the boxes for me and fucking turn it in. So I got to do something. I got to write in. I'm just writing my own name, I guess. Mike Tyson. I don't know who the fuck should I vote for. Like
Bernie.
Punch out the
I
competition.
am again asking you to write me in.
that is the best.
Your ballot.
That's one of the best political memes that exists. I am again asking for your support, your financial support.
I love Bernie.
I mean, do you still love Bernie even though he supports the genocide in Gaza
He actually
currently?
doesn't.
He doesn't.
He
Oh, he
does
doesn't?
not.
Oh, man, I was trying to
Remember-
fucking- I was
He's a
trying to fire
little
you up.
old Jew from New
Forgot about
York
that.
who's staunch
I don't
with
remember.
Palestine.
I was just trying to start shit.
Yeah.
Didn't work.
Damn it.
Yeah.
Because no, I wouldn't. I will get whenever you want to get into that Palestine issue. I will bring that up in the debate because I will go off on about what that happened with that.
Yeah, well, I mean, honestly, all they really rambled on about was, oh, the economy was so great under me, and you fucked it up, or oh, the economy, you fucked it up and I fixed it, which they're both wrong. Like
literally almost every rebuttal of Trump's, they'd be like, so, I mean, this is completely facetious, but so Biden has white hair. Do you like that? Well, the fucking borders. It's because the borders are open. Like anything they asked him, he went straight back to because of the borders.
yeah, that's like one of his major plot points.
But it had nothing to do with anything.
Right, but that's
It could be
what,
like, the sky is blue today, Trump, but the fucking borders.
and this is why our system is broken, is because someone can literally run on like one or two issues and get elected to be president.
And that's the thing. Like, you made the perfect point. Literally said, well, our tax returns were better with Trump, but there's 999 other million things that are more important. But people focus on that one small thing, and they go, I was at an indoor playground the other day.
Mm-hmm.
And my daughter decided to go play with another little boy.
Mm-hmm.
And they said, well, we're friends now. You moms need to be friends. And I said, okay. So I sat and talked with this mom.
Oh, man.
We literally probably talked for 10 minutes, okay, before it was our time to leave the thing. And we're just talking back and forth, small talking. Where are you from?
Yeah.
My kid, your kid, talking back and forth. And then we just started talking about like, oh my gosh, things are so expensive. I'm like, yeah. And she has bought a house and we bought a house and interest rates and you just adult small talk.
They just bought a house?
Well, they bought a house like a year or two ago or something like that.
They're still fucked, but anyway.
And just, just adult small talk.
Yeah.
And then she just looks at me and she goes, yeah, I need to vote for Trump. I'm telling everybody I know to vote for Trump because, if Biden comes up, our money's just going to get more expensive. And I'm just telling everybody, please, anybody who will listen to me, please vote for Trump. I'm Mexican from Mexico and I think we should vote for Trump. And the ironic thing is, I'm sitting there in an LGBTQIA equality
That's
shirt.
true. Yeah, that's true.
With fucking space buns. I'm pierced from here to go. Do you really think that I'm a Republican? You've known me for 10 fucking minutes.
I have a question.
And you think it's okay to just tell me, go ahead and vote for Trump. And because we were in an indoor playground with children, I just sat there and I just bit my tongue
I was
until
gonna say,
it fucking bled. I'm like, Jesus Christ.
I'm very surprised that I didn't get a phone call from the local police station from you telling me to come pick you up and bail you out. That's
It's
what
because
I was
my
expecting.
child was there. If it was someone on the street, like we have right by a grocery store, we have those people that have like the
the Trump.
Let's Go Brandon
banner.
flag.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I flip him off literally every time we drive past him.
Oh, yeah,
I told
it's
Joshua, slow
hilarious.
down, and I stick my middle finger out.
hilarious.
I flip him off.
I've seen a couple of those.
You should flip him off. It's really fun.
Yeah, I there was one over by like Magnolia, like they had a canopy pitched up.
Like an easy up or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, they have
Yeah,
one
they
over here
have
by the
them over
Ralphs,
by Ralph's.
on Green River.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're
Oh,
there
shit.
like
They're
every
there
fucking
all the time.
weekend.
And every
Oh.
time we drive past him, I tell Joshua, slow down. And I
kind of
stick
like
my finger out.
I kind of want to go and like buy something from them, and then literally like I want to get a protest permit, and then just like have a burn permit as well, and then just light it on fire in front of them and just see what they do. Like, and then go to the Biden people too and do the same thing. But they're not as zealoty, so they're not out
No.
there selling shit.
It's not as cultish. It's like, it's creepy.
I feel like the grifters, like they're not really. I don't think they're actually aligned with
Trump
and like his policies and everything, or even his perspectives on where the direction of the country should go in. I think they really just care about the money. So like,
And that's exactly it. Yes.
why do
God,
you say
know
that?
what? Hey, do they sell that Trump shit on Temu? Because if we can get bulk shit, we should set up a stand and fucking make money on these assholes. Why are we sitting here making no money? Fuck, man. If that's the case, then shit. And then just be like, yeah, we love Trump. Yeah, here, support us so we can buy more Trump stuff for you to sell or for you to buy. Oh, yeah, come on.
Oh, yeah, perfect example of that too. I remember I watched the live reactions when he was indicted on his felonies, and there was literally a man who was interviewed crying, a grown man crying, which again, men can cry. That has nothing to do with that. But he goes, so he had an affair. Women, after they give birth, are fat and cranky, and he needed to have sex. Let the man have sex. And he's bawling his eyes out. That's how much of these fucking people
But that's not what he was charged with. He was charged with fucking like business
But
fraud
apparently
or something.
women are just fat and cranky after they gave birth. Well, I wonder why we just stick a fucking 10-pound baby out of her vagina and her hormones are going crazy. Fuck you.
Yeah, that's true. It's pretty bad.
It's just cultish.
You're right.
It's cultish and it's terrifying.
And I will say this too. On the flip side, the Biden people, they are very cultish as well. Like, it's not to the extreme. It's not to that level.
I feel like anybody that actually follows Democratic or Republican, and I will say it, I was a staunch Democrat for so many years. I was in a fucking cult. It's all cult-like behavior. You blindly follow. And that's the thing, too, like going to your point, Adam, is people look like I could look and go, I agree with majority, but there was things that I would not agree with, but I wouldn't speak out on it because that doesn't fit in the box of like, I need to stick with this person. So like you said, people with Trump are like, majority of the time when I hear Trump supporters, it's money or it's the border. They don't think about anything else that he did. And they don't want to think about anything else he did because they need to put themselves in that little box, because if they disagree with anything else they said, then they're not a true MAGA or they're not a true Biden supporter.
God, I fucking love you. Like, this is like why I love you, because I have had that same opinion, but I have not told you, I have not tried to force you on that. I haven't said shit to you about it. You came to that conclusion on your own.
And it's true.
Adam, you might watch us fuck right now live on this podcast.
That's
like,
really creepy.
I'm going home. Yeah, dude.
Nah, stay so I can look you.
I actually, when you, because I thought registering independent meant that you were independent. You're telling me it's a fucking party.
It is.
And it's religious.
So I should have picked no party preference, the name of the podcast.
Yep. That's exactly why we named the podcast
Fuck
this.
me, dude.
Because that's truly being independent.
Yeah, because then I technically belong to the party of fucking
independence or whatever.
You know, Ron Paul, if he even exists anymore.
Oh, that's true. Yeah. Yeah, and who knows what the real reason why he even did that was. Clearly, it was politically motivated, but man, it sucks. This whole thing sucks. How come we only get to see two fuckboys debating? I don't even think we got to see.
You know what JFK did, Junior? Apparently he went on X and did his own like debate.
Fuck
live
that
stream.
guy. I'm sorry. Fuck that guy. I know people will be like, oh, you just shut that guy. No, he's the fucking part of the problem. He's the dynasty candidate, the nepotism candidate. Fuck that guy. I don't give a shit who your uncle was or who your fucking dad was. Get out of my fucking house. You don't get to be president, bitch. I'm sorry. Like, go fuck yourself.
I wasn't saying good or bad. I'm saying that they're like...
No. I'm just railing about this.
Getting to your point that they only allowed these two fucking hooligans to debate. So everyone else is like, find me on Twitter, bro.
Yeah.
And shit, we don't even know who fucking Trump's going to be as vice president yet. What is this, July, August, September, October? We have 5 months and we go...
Who could they possibly add that would...
Marjorie Greene Taylor?
Huh?
Marjorie Greene Taylor?
The rumor mill on the street is that I've been seeing in the message boards is it's that Vivek Ramaswamy guy that...
Oh, Ramaswamy?
Yeah, whatever his name is. Yeah, that's supposedly the guy that he is going to possibly pick.
Who is this?
He's
Louisiana?
Yeah, he's like a business guy. He's like he was involved when they were doing the primary last year. He was at some of the debates.
Yeah.
He was really the only one that was not senile for the most part. And so I guess it makes sense why Trump would probably pick him, because he's a business guy. He's not a political dude.
Yeah.
But aren't all businessmen technically political? Let's be honest.
Well, yeah, they're just doing it with more money. Like that's
they're just doing it more shadily. I mean, every business has a fucking politician in it.
You know who I kind of respect the fact that he actually has his name, not like Nikki Haley, who's actually Indian, and her name is actually like, an elongated name, but she just goes by Nikki Haley, and that's
the Americanized version of whatever.
To get the right wing.
I feel like that's betrayal to like your own people that you're trying to, like Ted Cruz, dude. Ted Cruz is like fucking what is it, Roberto?
Is he really?
Yeah, like I think he's like Puerto Rican or something.
Yeah.
But he truncated his name or goes by Ted, so he's
Fuck
more Americanized, I suppose.
That's so fucking
It
pathetic.
is. That's terrible, man.
So as far as like the actual
yeah.
topics, because you watched the majority of it, what were some of the things that they ended up tackling, or the things that you thought were
Interesting.
the highlights or the worst parts of
What was that thing you said you were on earlier with the debate, the fact checker or whatever? What's that called?
Is it just factchecker.com or .org?
No.
Fact check debate.
Daily Beast, CNN. Okay, so the first one, which I thought was interesting, because obviously one of the big, I promise I won't go on a long rant about this. I promise. We already did a whole nother podcast about
No,
this.
might as well.
For an hour and a half long of debate about this. But I was really interested to see what they would have to say about Palestine. That's obviously a very, very, very hot button topic.
Yeah.
I will tell you, I think out of like what the 2 minutes they were allowed, the 1 minute rebuttal, I think about 45 seconds on Biden's side was spent on it, and about 15 seconds on Trump's side was spent on it, because they decided to take that other time and that in their rebuttals with each other to argue more with each other about questions that were already asked.
Okay.
Biden says, the only thing I haven't done for Israel is send them 2-ton bombs, because that's not good to use because it kills a lot of people.
Yet that's not stopping them now from doing it.
That's literally what he said. And then he said, we're Israel's staunch supporters and Hamas has to stop. And that's literally all he said. The only thing I haven't done is send him 2-ton bombs because that will kill too many civilians. And then let me get the exact quote, because I texted it when it first happened.
Oh, what Trump said?
What Trump said.
Yeah.
Trump then turned around and, when they asked him about it, he just decided to spend his time debating something else that Biden talked about. I think he was arguing about the border, because he always does. His exact quote, please give me a moment. Trump, I will just let Israel go in and finish the job.
Yeah, that's exactly what he said. And I will say, I said that when he said that, I said, who gives a fuck what you're gonna let them do? Because they're already ramping down operations in Gaza so they can go commit war crimes in Lebanon. That's next. The German chancellor or prime minister, whatever the fuck they're called, sent a message to Lebanon, the quote unquote legit government that's there, and said, hey, just FYI, Israel is coming for you, and no one none of the Western nations are able to stop them. That is like what he said in a diplomatic cable to them, saying, just FYI, Israel's coming for your ass. Well, coming for Hezbollah, but Hezbollah.
America has not ramped down, but that could be a whole nother conversation. We're not going to get into like a giant Palestine thing right now.
Well, no, but that's what I'm saying is, who gives a shit about Israel now, even at this point, because they're going to leave Gaza, so that's not even an issue you can debate on, because it's irrelevant. Because
we should give a shit because there's still an active genocide going on.
Oh, good.
I was just going to ask, do you guys think that particular topic is going to be the thing that persuades people to vote for one person? Because the fact that like most debates, the answers are usually manipulated in a way that they don't really answer the question, because if they take a hard line stance on something, then that means like that's where you stand on it, and that also polarizes people. Therefore, that might end up causing somebody else to vote for the other person.
What's really interesting about that is I was leaning against Biden for a long time, but it was the whole Palestine issue that pushed me over the edge to be against him. And I've seen a lot of people who are left leaning, I would say, saying the same thing. I was always like, I'm kind of rooting for you, bud, but like you're letting me down here, but I'm still rooting for you. And then when this whole issue started, I went, and you're a fucking cunt. I'm sorry, yeah. I'm done. And I just thought that was interesting, that this massive topic. And to also answer your question, no, only because both sides are so pro-Israel. They both want to fuck Israel in the ass so hard and so deep that I don't think there's going to be a candidate that will be heard that would be staunchly pro-Palestine.
Right.
Because both sides, for whatever reason, besides Bernie, God bless Bernie, but the big political parties on either side are both so like, I'll bend over for Israel, daddy, kind of thing,
Yeah.
And one of the things that
I think it will sway people like me.
No, I'm going to interrupt.
But it will sway people like me who were very staunch in my beliefs to go, if you're not with this, then I'm not fucking with you.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Oh, okay. What I was gonna say,
He's like
what
literally sitting
I
there like,
meant,
"She
I just
done,
wanted
she
to
done,
clarify.
she
I just wanted to clarify. I wasn't saying who gives a fuck about Gaza in the sense of who gives a fuck about Gaza. I was saying, we know you're gonna let them do whatever the fuck they want there. Why don't you tell us what you're going to do? Are you going to let them go into Lebanon? Are you let them start more wars over there and do more genocides?
I think they're
That's what we
trying
want
to
know.
get him to fucking say this is a goddamn fucking genocide. Fucking stop it.
Yeah, but
And
they're
he's
not.
not going to because
neither of them
they
will.
need to bend over for Daddy Israel and spread their ass cheeks.
So basically, whoever gave the least answer possible is the person that maybe it'll be a deciding factor for them, because
It could be.
just the fact that they're neutral or they're not provoking the
Right.
other side,
Right.
then that's enough for most people.
It could be.
Think about this. Okay, so this is the first presidential election. I don't know if it's in the history, but it's definitely in the modern era where both candidates are going for their second term.
It's true.
So it doesn't matter if they take a hardline stance, because this is it. Whichever one of them wins, they could do whatever the fuck they want, because you can't come back and be it for a third term. Every president's first term is always to try to get elected to a second term, right? So I think that's why we sort of saw a hardline stance with some issues by either of them. Now, Biden's was like, I don't want to piss off my Palestine potential voters. So, like, let me say, well, I didn't give them the 2,000-pound bombs.
Because they will kill civilians.
Right.
Those are bad. They'll
Yeah.
kill too many people. Like, God damn you, motherfucking piece of shit.
And
Like,
Trump is trying to capture the left Jewish
Zionists,
vote by
yeah.
saying, I'm going to let them go in and finish the fucking job, baby. So he can.
That's a good point.
He can
That
take
is
that
a good
hard.
point.
He can take that hard line stance, because who gives a shit if he allows it or not? Doesn't matter. This is his final 4 years, and both of them don't necessarily need to give a fuck about making a hardline stance, because if they don't do it, who cares? There's no repercussions for that.
That's a good point. So this is, at this point, it's like all in or nothing. But there are some things that are like irredeemable that
Right.
people won't let
Yeah.
go. Like for Katie, it's this thing.
Oh, the other one was-
with the Roe v. Wade shit too.
that was
Yeah.
literally the next thing I'm bringing up. Trump was quoted. Everybody wanted Roe v. Wade overturned and the power to set abortion policies returned to individual states. He said everybody. He said law professors. He said every Republican, every Democrat that he's talked to. He said that this has been something that people have wanted for 50 years, and he's happy it happened.
And what's funny about that statement is because Roe v. Wade wasn't overturned because they said, we don't want women to have rights. The Supreme Court fundamentally believed that right is something that they should have. However, the whole argument that they made, and again, it was the judges that he put on there, which are the right-wing religious sort of judges who are against abortion. They said, cool, we can use this technicality to say, well, technically Roe v. Wade should have never been allowed because this is something that this should be a power that is enumerated
And,
to the
but what's
states, right?
interesting about this is how Proposition, well, I don't know if it was in California, it was Proposition 8, but this is how gay marriage was happening because
yeah.
they took away a state's rights to deny it for certain people. And so it became a whole liberty issue. And that's why people were allowed to get married countrywide now. But now they're rescinding it and going, well, fuck you. The state now gets to decide this.
Yeah.
And then Trump also went on this. Then he said he'll support the abortion pill, which was interesting. But he literally goes, well, the Supreme Court just said that they'll support it, so I support it now, which, he wasn't pro-abortion bills
Yeah.
to begin with. But he literally said, Daddy, Supreme Court supported it, so now I'm going to support it. He then went on to say, and I wish I was joking, that multiple times he said that doctors will take out 8 and 9-month-old babies and set them aside and then decide whether to kill them or not. And he kept saying this over and over. But as disgusting and as funny as it is, there are actually people out there who believe that shit.
Yeah.
And that's fucking terrifying.
Yeah, that is fucking terrifying. It was hilarious when he said that, though.
And then he goes off on this thing about like how he supports it if it's incest, he supports it if it's rape, he supports it abortion
for the health of the
meaning,
mother.
For the health of the mother. The states that have banned abortion don't give a fuck about any of that. So come out and go, well, those states that are doing that are against what you're saying, motherfucker. Condemn him. And he wouldn't do it.
He wouldn't because but he would. Oh well, Ohio allows it, it was a little more of a left decision than you might have thought, and then also Kansas, same thing, a little more left than you might have thought with the way they allowed the abortion and but. Okay, so fuck what?
But there's been so many cases of women with incest or people with ectopic pregnancies or anything where they're not allowed to do it. But then he's claiming he supports it. No, he fucking doesn't. He's saying that to do that little bit of like, oh, I might get a lefty here if I show you it's extreme cases. It's bullshit.
And honestly, the only reason this is even a fucking debate is because of religion. That's the only reason this is a
America, apparently, which it doesn't fucking because everyone, don't even get me started on Kansas and what is it, Louisiana, that are starting with the 10 Commandments. Oh, no, Ohio. No, Oklahoma. God, sorry. So Louisiana, you have to put up the 10 Commandments in your school. And now Oklahoma is starting that every Bible will be in school and teachers must teach from it.
That's problematic.
Yeah, fucking think.
Because again, we have the First Amendment, which guarantees our freedom of religion. So you can't legislate one religious book to be told to everyone.
And that's the thing is every debate when it comes to, and this is, I think, really where my activism started. We're not going to get into religious trauma, but I don't believe in organized religion. I don't believe, I consider I guess in the Christianity sense, I'm an atheist. I don't believe in a singular God. But every debate that I've ever had with anybody, whether it has to do with abortion, whether it has to do with gay rights, whether it has to do with anything along those lines, the Bible or Christian or we're a Christian nation, motherfucker, show me the First Amendment of the Constitution. And it's really funny to me is because most of those people are the gun-tooting Second Amendment, you can't take my shit people. But the second it goes against their their religion, we completely ignore the First Amendment.
True. And
it's the first goddamn amendment.
Yeah. Where you point at me for the Second Amendment thing, I think we should be allowed to have intercontinental ballistic missiles. I think we should have zero restrictions on what you want to do. And I also think that you should be able to believe whatever the hell you want to believe.
Yeah, I
you bastard.
The separation of church and state, that should be written into fucking law, dude, at this point.
It should, and you know what's fucked? It's in our fucking money. In God We Trust is on every fucking penny, every fucking
it's in our
dollar
fucking
bill.
National anthem. I haven't spoken the Pledge of Allegiance, and I can't tell you how many long. I refuse to say the Pledge of Allegiance.
Oh yeah, I haven't.
It's cultish, and it says under God. I don't fucking believe in God. So that makes me un-American? No, it makes me truly American because we're fucking freedom of religion.
See, if it was truly American, we should be like one nation on top of your mom, bitch. Like, that's what it should be. That's what it should change
it's one nation if you're a white Republican man. Then you have all the rights that you want.
No, they can't own intercontinental ballistic missiles yet.
Where was Jesus during 2008, dude?
Yeah. Jesus Christ, literally. Yeah. So, what else did they ramble on about?
The troops one was interesting. So Biden claims that he is the only president this decade who doesn't have any troops dying anywhere in the world.
Well, that's a lie.
Service members have died aboard during his pregnancy, including 13 troops killed in suicide bombings during the U.S. withdrawal with Afghanistan. That was a big thing, was the debate on Afghanistan and how Trump was getting us out of Afghanistan and he was doing it calmly and nicely. And it's all Biden's fault that Afghanistan turned into what it turned into. And it pains me to say I almost agree with him in that sense. What happened in Afghanistan is fucking truly a tragedy.
Oh, yeah.
And that was a big, big debate for a while.
All I could do is point at the finger of who started it. And for me, well, shit, man, you probably have to go back to
Bush.
Yeah, Bush. And that would probably be Bush Sr., right? For Afghanistan?
Well, Bush Sr. for Iraq really that's what started the whole thing. And that's the only we went into Iraq as I feel like as a grudge against Saddam because of his dad. That Saddam tried to assassinate, or didn't obviously work, but he tried to assassinate George Bush Sr. And I think he was like, "Nah, bitch, I'm gonna get you this time. Now watch this drive."
Okay, but as far as who was president during that time,
it was George W. Bush Jr. George W. Bush
for Afghanistan in the 80s.
Oh, the early 80s? That was probably under Well, Afghanistan was the Russians. We weren't involved. We were only involved in that as advisors to the Taliban. We helped them, which was ironic about the whole thing, is we helped them when they were fighting against the communists.
Against us.
And then they took all of our shit that we gave them and used it to take over hostilely their country, and then they basically turned against us and became our enemy. So and then fought us with our own shit 25 or 20 years later or whatever in the early 2000s.
But as far as the president,
I think fucking Reagan was the president at the time that happened.
all right, yeah. If I were a debater, I would have brought that up. That the only reason that we're in this circumstance is because the person who started it would have been Ronald Reagan.
But you're also not a fucking idiot, so of course you would have brought it up.
But I mean, like if they were going to make a point about anything, if Biden was going to take a stance and say, all right, you want to take shots at me for the fact that I made the situation worse or whatever it was,
Right.
then look at who actually started the problem, and you could say it would be Ronald Reagan.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, technically, I feel like it was actually Jimmy Carter was when it started, when the Soviet invasion of Afghanistan. Oh, that thing just fell. When the Soviet invasion of Afghanistan took place, it was Jimmy Carter. And then obviously they supported us covertly assisting to defeat the communists. And basically we turned it into Vietnam for the Russians. Afghanistan was their Vietnam.
Okay, so for the duration of that,
It was Jimmy Carter, Ronald Reagan, and then George H.W. Bush right at the end.
okay, but who was at the helm for a majority of it? For their presidency, was it towards the end of Jimmy Carter's career that it started?
Yeah, it was like towards the end of his...
So then it was majority Ronald Reagan that he would be in commander in chief for that circumstance.
Yeah, basically.
Okay. Well, anyways, besides the point. So they went on about this topic about Afghanistan and pulling out.
And that's when he went on his rant that they talked about Ukraine and that Putin, he goes, Putin and I get along, but he knows not to mess with me. And this would have never happened because he respects me and he knows I wouldn't mess around. And Kim Jong-un of North Korea, he won't mess with me. He knows not to mess with me. And Joe, you're too soft.
I will say like that he's wrong in the way in which he's saying it, but because it's not out of respect, it's because there's a reason why Putin waited until Trump was out of office to invade the Ukraine. And it was because
They were fucking each other in the ass?
No, it's if anyone's fucking crazy enough to actually push the button to launch nukes, it's Trump. Like he would be
But
crazy
that
enough to
doesn't
authorize
mean
that.
it's okay. And that doesn't
Correct.
mean he
It
should
doesn't
be
mean it's okay.
president. That
I
means
agree.
He's
No.
a fucking psychopath.
I agree, but to give context, it wasn't out of respect. It was
No,
really
100%.
out of fear of, well, fuck, okay, let's do it when this more reasonable individual is president, and we'll probably just do nothing about it, which is pretty much what happened.
The other thing that I thought was interesting was they were talking about black employment. Biden said black employment is the lowest level it's been in a long time. And
Unemployment or...
black unemployment is the lowest. I'm sorry. Black unemployment is the lowest level it's been in a long, long time. It's just not true.
Okay, so I feel like they're probably making that like a footnote topic so that they can shoehorn that to persuade the African American vote.
And it was interesting because they were talking about how blacks are completely underpaid, that their unemployment rates are higher, and that more black women die during childbirth than any other one.
I've heard that, yeah.
Yeah, and it's true. And all he could say was, well, it's the lowest unemployment rate that it's been in a long time, which is not true. And what was interesting is Trump, the only thing he knows how to do, jumped in and he said, let me try to get this with a straight face. He said it's because Joe is letting in the illegal Mexicans and they're taking all of the black people's jobs.
What a classic heel maneuver that is. To basically race bait people into saying, hey, listen, black people, it's the Mexicans' fault. They're the ones that are doing this.
They're taking your jobs.
If you elect me president, which again, that's what he's pandering to, because while the African American community is generally traditionally Democrat voters, there's been a lot of people switching sides saying they're going to vote for Trump because life was better for them under Trump, is what they're saying. So I see how he's pandering to that and trying to swing more of that demographic to his
really
side.
just like blew my mind if you dive deep into that comment, because I understand like the surface level of what he was attempting to do, and he's terrible at everything. What really blew my mind with that is, in all honesty, what can illegal immigrants do for work. It's hard labor jobs. They're treated like shit. They're paid under the table. They don't get high paying successful jobs.
Right. No
Which
one.
that could go off on a whole nother tangent about how neohuman is illegal and that's bullshit. We're not getting there. But so he's literally saying, hey, black people, all that, hard under the work bullshit that we underpay for and treat everyone like shit, those are your jobs.
Yeah.
You go do those jobs, you peasant.
Yeah,
So it's
true.
racist as fuck for two different minorities.
Yeah.
But he's literally going, hey, look, I support you, black people.
You know what he should be doing is because he was complaining about how Biden's letting in all these illegal immigrants and then sending them to register to vote like immediately or whatever. And if that were true, then you should be trying to capture the illegal immigrant vote by saying, hey, this guy's making you stay in hotels for a hot minute. I'll just make you all
Oh, they're
citizens
staying at the
legally if you vote for me.
Ritz-Carlton, apparently.
Well,
Something along those lines, according
that's not a federal government thing generally. That's a state of New York thing that's happening.
That's one of the things he went off on. And this one I thought was interesting too.
That is semi-true, though. There are plenty of instances where
You mean like they're human beings trying to flee
Correct.
don't get me on the immigration issue.
No, I'm just saying, though, that what he said, I'm just saying what he said is technically correct, where the federal government and the state of New York are putting up people that come here seeking asylum when they don't have housing for them because there's a lot of them coming here because of the shitty conditions. All they basically claim eminent domain at hotels and say, listen, we are going to pay you your daily rate, but you are going to have these people staying
Good
here.
for
And
that.
there's nothing you can do about it. Like,
Good.
I think the thing that's horseshit is that people that are Central and South American, and I might have a bias towards this, that they get constantly dunked on in political debates.
oh yeah,
But when it comes to like Eastern Europeans, open arms, come on in.
Yeah.
If it's East Asian or Southeast Asians, yeah, you know what? We need the world's brightest minds. You don't think fucking Mexicans or Peruvians or anybody else is
Nope.
capable of being intelligent too? Like,
That's the problem,
yeah,
right?
That's fucking completely ridiculous. That's part of, like, you want to make America great again. That's what you do. You go back to the old ways and you let everybody come in, so then you can have everybody's best because
So
the
you can
best want to
have
come
the
here.
diversity of religion, of culture, of all of those things, because that's what America was founded on, not this white nationality Christian bullshit.
The only reason we were able to make nuclear weapons was because we allowed everybody in and diversity, right? And so, like, we need to go back to doing that so we can have more nuclear weapons to assert dominance in the world.
Oh,
right?
speaking of which, side note, this isn't have a laundry tangent, but I just thought it was kind of funny.
Yeah, okay.
Because Biden at one point said, so will you denounce the Proud Boys? Because he wouldn't denounce the Proud Boys. Will you denounce them now, Trump?
Well, did
will
he?
you denounce them? Nope. He completely skirted past the question and would not do it.
God, and that's such an easy slam
Literally
dunk
so
to
easy.
fucking be like,
Just be
yeah,
like,
I'm not in favor of racists.
No, because
you know?
he gets their votes. That's
Yeah,
all
but
he
there ain't
cares.
even that many of them. Like, what the fuck does he give a shit for?
Because he's one of them. Anyway,
Good point.
one of the things I thought was kind of interesting, they debated back and forth a lot on unemployment.
Yeah.
And,
I said, yeah.
and honestly, I hate to say this. It pains me to say this. To be fair to both sides, Biden went on and on about Trump having high unemployment rates in the last year of his tenure. It was COVID. You can't really control that.
It doesn't count.
It doesn't really count. But then to kind of dig on Biden again, he kept saying that he's had all this job growth. He's had all this job growth. He's had all this job growth. What was interesting to me is multiple times he kept saying, I've created 15,000 new jobs. 15,000 new jobs. It's 15 million.
Well,
And he kept saying over and over, I've created 15,000 new jobs.
that's like, that doesn't even cover the state of California.
It's literally 15 million new jobs, but he's like downplaying himself.
Either way, there's what, 390 million fucking people here in America. Oh wow, you made what, 3% more fucking jobs? Whoop-de fucking do. That's not even a stat you should be proud of. Fucking idiot.
Oh, and then they started talking about drug overdoses and how we have a massive epidemic in this country and how we need to help these people, because addiction is a disease. And how are
Yeah.
you going to help them? So, of course, instead of talking about like how we could actually help people, Trump started going off about Mexico and the border And then Trump or Biden said, well, you know what we're doing is we have this machine that detects fentanyl. And I got a bipartisan vote to get this money that will detect fentanyl. But Trump went to his buddies and now they don't want to pay the money for this machine that detects fentanyl. And you see like Trump over there going like, oh yeah, that's actually a pretty cool idea. Can we, yeah, it's coming in illegally, but Jesus Christ, let's help the people here are fucking suffering.
Why are we going to pay a fucking $40 billion machine or whatever it is that can detect fentanyl? Whoop-de-fucking do. It's going to cost us hundreds of billions of dollars.
Or how about we just fucking help the people here?
Yeah, help people get off it or
help
whatever.
Them. How about we make private rehabs not hundreds of thousands of fucking dollars?
How about this? How about you give them either rehab or whatever they want, or you give them as much fentanyl as they want until they die, problem solved.
No,
either they get off of it
that's
or
horrible.
they die doing what they loved.
There's
fentanyl,
no... There's no
Ultra
resource.
guillotine stands on that.
Besides, like, genuine, like, unless you are rolling in the dough, which you're obviously fucking not, where they're throwing them away and locking the key, or we're expecting to come up with tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars to go to a rehab center. That usually doesn't fucking work.
Yeah, and then all it does is make you want to do more fentanyl. Like, that's it.
But no one, we need a machine that detects fentanyl. I'm like, you guys are stupid.
Type shit.
Adam fucking adding the zoomer.
I'm not gonna explain. You can just
you just fucking figure that out for yourself. So,
and a couple of little Biden plunders. He said he wanted every single solitary person was eligible for what I've been able to do with the COVID. Excuse me, with dealing with everything we had to do with. Look, we finally beat Medicare.
That was the last thing I turned the TV off. That was the point I turned the TV off. I'm like, what the fuck are you on about?
And then Trump said, well, he's right. He did beat Medicare. He beat it to death.
Fucking A, dude.
that is one of the things that is most fucking infuriating about these assholes is that they want to, like, Social Security is in dire fucking straits, right? We as voters, the young ones, I guess us in our 30s and even lower, this shit's we're not gonna have Social Security when we retire. It's gonna fucking be non-existent by that time. And I can't believe that they've been swindling us for our entire adult lives of paying into this fucking horse shit that we had not had a choice for, and we're not even gonna get our money back. We're not even gonna get to utilize it. That is fucking infuriating to the umpteenth degree.
But at one point it worked.
Yeah, it did when the economy was better. But when shit's worth so much money, it's like they're like, fuck, we can't keep giving people raises on Social Security because there's less fucking people. That's why it doesn't work anymore, is because that boomer generation, once they all retired, they were like, oh shit, the system was flawed because we were using the people that were working to pay the people. That's why you paid Social Security tax specifically, because that money you were paying was paying the people's Social Security that were on Social Security.
Yeah.
And now that there's all these boomers and there's the next generation didn't have as many of them because they didn't have 5 or 6 kids. They had 2 maybe, right? So now you've got a third of the people working to support 100% of the thing. The math doesn't math on that. It's impossible.
Yeah, and I don't think it was supposed to be something that was supposed to be like sole income for a family, right? It's like the motivation was always that it was supplemental income. So not to say that you wouldn't work, or rather in your senior years, working is probably out of the question, right? So like this, you have a nest egg, or you have like a retirement funds or whatever, and then Social Security was like the thing that you would throw on top of it.
Yeah, but there's a lot of people. I mean, my grandmother included was in this. She did not. She worked at a hospital for 35 years, and the retirement was just garbage. They just didn't have good retirements. She worked that job till she couldn't work it anymore, and then when she retired, solely was living off of Social Security, and that was it. And that's what it became for a lot of seniors.
She worked for the freaking school district for 25, 30 years. Didn't even get a retirement plan. Got nothing.
And so there's a lot of people, because retirement plans are not good for employers to have if they're paying into it, because that cuts into their bottom line. And if you're on a 401k or an IRA or something like that, where you're paying into it out of your paycheck, well, shit, if you got to put in $100 or $200 a month, like
I can't afford to do that to pay into a separate retirement from what I have, like to live. You know what I'm saying? Like people can't afford that anymore, and people couldn't afford it even back then.
Yeah, like, and how do they expect those type of sources of income to be useful in the future, like when inflation is outpacing like a 401k or all that shit?
It's because they don't give a shit about us because we're a commodity. We are a product, right? We are an end use product that when we are no longer useful, the system says, well, fuck, you get a pittance because we can't use you anymore. You're only worth what you're worth while you can do what's useful to the economic system.
Well, we even do that with kids. You know, I work with kids and, you know, they have these massive, like, you have to be in school attendance dates because education is important, blah, 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 blah. And education is important. Don't get me wrong.
Not. Well,
education is important.
right.
But
Well,
the reason that they're shoving this down the kid's throat and the reason that you can get legal action against you if you don't take your kids to school is because the schools do not get paid from the government unless your child's ass is in that chair.
yeah, their funding is solely based on
How many kids
Yeah.
actually show up.
a day, like per day.
So it doesn't matter if you're sick. It doesn't matter if you need a family vacation. It doesn't matter any of that. They try to base it off of like you're going to miss too much work. It's bullshit. They just care because it makes them money. And so it starts when you're young and then it goes up into your older.
That's bullshit. Truancy should not be a fucking crime.
Thank
I agree.
you.
I agree 100%. And that's fucking absolute horseshit. And I will say too that that's the Matrix programming you for your 9 to 5
No,
to sit at
100%.
the desk and to fucking do what you're told, and questioning things is wrong, and you should not be fucking saying shit. You just shut the fuck up. You sit there, you do your work, and you clock out at the end of the day, and you be happy that you get to have 2 weeks of vacation. Because when you're in school, shit, man, you get 3 months here, you get a week or two here. Man, it's the greatest. And then you get into the real world, and you're like, Jesus Christ, I got to work fucking almost 365 days a year. This is fucking ridiculous. Fuck the Matrix, man. Anyway, sorry, go ahead.
No, one other big thing that we didn't discuss, but I just thought this was kind of a funny thing because Biden said something about you had sex with a porn star while your wife was pregnant. And Trump goes, no, I didn't. And then Biden looks at him and goes, you have the morals of an alley cat.
God, what an old man fucking thing to say,
It kind
too.
of made me laugh. We didn't talk about January 6th.
Oh, they talked about that?
They did.
Oh, what they have to say about that?
See,
What they didn't say. That's the problem.
Oh, they didn't.
dude, if I was Biden, man, I would go for all the fucking dirt. I
Yeah.
would go for every single one of those points. I think that would be like, even if it wasn't related to the topic, I'd be like, because they've been holding off on saying, because it wouldn't be emblematic of being president for him to take the cheap shots. Well, I'm like, dude, Trump takes those shots anyways. Why don't you just degrade yourself to that level and win over a few people? Like,
Yeah, yeah.
So basically, Trump didn't talk about it. When asked about the Capitol, he went on to say the country at the time had a great border. We were energy independent, and the United States had the lowest taxes ever, and we had the lowest regulations ever. That's how he originally addressed
January
6th. And then
Classic political deflection.
yeah, and then Biden's like, bro, like you called them all the fucking Capitol and then you sat there for 3 hours and didn't do shit. Like, what the fuck? And then Trump kept going on about how America was great with him and blah, 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 blah. And then Trump decided to say, all they did was ask me to give a speech, and it was one of the best speeches I've ever given, and, you know, in the typical Trump fashion. And then he said, it actually came out. Look it up. It came out in a recording. Nancy Pelosi was talking to her daughter. And apparently Nancy Pelosi said, it's all my fault because I didn't call the National Guard. And I told them they should call the National Guard. And they told me no. And if I was Nancy Pelosi, I'd be very disappointed in my daughter because my daughter just made me out to be the liar. So I didn't do anything wrong. They just asked me to make a speech and I told them lots of people are coming. I don't know if you want to have the National Guard. And they told me no. So it's not my fault at all.
oh, man.
You know, I think, and this is what's really, I'm going to have to look this up to confirm it, but I don't think, because Washington, D.C. is not a state proper. It's like a Commonwealth or fucking something like that. But it's not, you know, like it's its own kind of entity, and I think the mayor is actually the one who could call, because it's usually the governor of the state is the one who can activate the National Guard.
Oh, the interesting thing about that is he was saying, like, when the BLM riots were happening, he's like, I sent all of the National Guard to them. They're burning down buildings, and look, I saved them because I sent the National Guard in. But they're literally breaking into the fucking Capitol and doing shit, and he could have still tried to call the National Guard in, but he chooses not to. So he's like, look, these BLM rioters, I saved them by sending in the National Guard. But when it's his supporters coming to fucking attack the Capitol, he sits there on his ass and just watches it happen. And he, says people are great.
It was because it was for him, though. That's
No,
why.
exactly.
It was
That's
because
my
it was on
point.
his team, right?
That's exactly my point.
His team doing it.
It's
So it's
exactly
like, I
my
don't give a
point.
shit. Yeah, of course, your team's doing it.
But
Like,
basically, he kept deflecting over and over. And they literally asked him like 2 or 3 times, like, the question, Mr. Trump, was, what about January 6th?
All right, I got to ask, because I have a feeling, and I feel like this is character assassination by proxy, the whole Hunter Biden thing.
oh, yeah.
Not that I personally give a shit, because what the fuck? So the fuck what? Like, this guy had an illegal weapon or whatever, and he was also doing a bunch of drugs and shit. But did that come up at all? Because I feel like that would be, not that it would be pertinent to any specific topic that was debated, but I feel like that's one of those, that's basically an ace in the hole for Trump to throw in the conversation to show what a shitty father Joe Biden is.
That was brought up slightly.
Okay, and how did that go?
I don't remember exactly what the lead up was to it, but Biden looked at Trump and he said, the only felon I see here is you. And then Trump turned around and said, your fucking son's a felon.
Okay, but that motherfucker's not running for president, so what does it have to do with anything?
That is the appropriate response. It's like, hey, man, sure, my son might be a shitbag, but he's not running for president. I am. You, sir, are also running for president, and you are a fucking, you technically.
And my son's hung like a horse.
Yeah.
Christ.
Yeah, he's all over the internet. Have you seen that laptop the FBI had?
Jesus Christ. The other big thing, and this took them, and I'm not exaggerating, 3 or 4 attempts to get Trump to actually answer the question, because he kept going, well, let me talk about what Biden just said, and rambling off about other things. They asked him if that it turns out he was not voted for president, would he accept it?
Okay, that's a pretty good question.
Yeah, that's a good question. And he literally just kept rambling on and on about border and this and January. Like, he would not answer. And they finally go, the question was, what would you do? And he went off on a rant about how he didn't even want to he didn't even want to be president. He wasn't planning on running for president. He said, there's so many other places I could be. One of my many beautiful properties and all the different places that I own. I didn't even want to be here. I just came because Joe did such a shitty job. And he just kept ranting. I didn't even want to be here. I have all these properties. I could be anywhere else in the world. I don't even really want to do this. I'm just doing it because. And so they kept asking,
Man.
will you accept it? If it's fair and legal, of course I'll accept
So
it.
it's on a stipulation. It's based, yeah, he's just deflecting.
It's so disingenuous, too, to be like, oh, I didn't even want to do this. Like, fuck you,
Another
buddy.
thing, like,
you
how
have a
can
choice.
people look at him and say, this is supposed to be the leader of the free world, and he's going, I didn't even really want to do this, but I'm fucking here. Like,
The only reason he's doing it,
Christ.
the only reason he's doing it is fucking ego, because the only president of our modern time that only got 1 term was Jimmy fucking Carter. Oh, and George W. Bush. But you don't want to be considered a lame duck president, right? There hasn't been one in 30 years, basically. Every president after Bush Sr. had 2 terms. So, with the exception of these 2, because now obviously they're in 1 and 1. So he doesn't want to be that guy who's the 1-term president and fucking get added to that list.
I don't know how you could look at a man that's trying to become your leader and go, I don't even really want to be here. I'm just, I could be one of my mansion somewhere else, but I'm just doing it for you.
Okay, boomer, go fuck yourself with your fucking affordable housing that you had when you bought that. Go fuck yourself.
Yeah, really appealing to the common man with the mansions that
Yeah.
you fucking have.
Yeah. I'm just like you with my fucking entire golf course and estate that I have.
Let me get to the golf whenever Adam has something to say.
You son of a bitch! You said I was a shitty golfer.
And at one point, they literally started arguing about golf. So they started talking about their age and the fact that Biden's old as fuck and Trump is old as fuck.
right behind him.
So Biden, goes on about, people used to talk shit on me because I was the youngest, and now people are talking shit I'm the oldest, and blah, blah, blah. Here's all the amazing things that I've done. And he says, this guy's 3 years younger and a lot less competent. Biden said that to Trump. Then Trump, I took 2 cognitive tests and I just won 2 club championships. To do that, you have to be quite smart. And then he went on and said that the person had told him that no one else has ever gotten a higher cognitive test than him, and he's fucking amazing.
He's the smartest human in history
Literally.
of humans.
And then he pointed to head. And then they literally started arguing about golf. And both men boasting about their golf handicap. And then Biden challenging Trump to a game. And Trump said he would do it. And then he's like, my handicap was 8. Then Trump's like, no, your handicap was 6. He's like, yeah, well, when I was vice president. They're literally arguing about fucking golf. And literally this article I'm reading says it perfectly. If only the future of the country wasn't at stake.
Yeah.
We're literally taking a political argument and you guys are and then Trump literally looks at him at one point and goes, let's not be children. Let's not talk about this. I'm like,
man, we all know.
We're talking about the future of America and you guys are arguing about golf and fucking handicaps.
Yeah, because we know who the undisputed champ is. It's George W. Bush.
Yeah, he's the best golfing president we've ever had.
Now watch this drive.
Yeah, he actually spent more time on the PGA Tour than he did running the country when he was president. I think. And I will say that this is why the system is fucked, because we've become idiocracy. That is, they might actually say, hey, you know what? I challenge you to a golf match for the presidency of the United States.
I mean, at this point.
And yeah, go ahead.
I have an interesting trivia piece about idiocracy.
Yeah.
So when they were coming out for the wardrobe outfits for the movie, for all the characters and stuff, they're like, what's the most imbecile or idiotic thing as far as like shoes that people could wear? And this company hadn't existed before, but they put it in the movie and it turned out that this company became ultra successful, but nobody knew at the time that it was Crocs. Crocs were the fucking shoes that people,
everybody wore in the future. Yeah.
So
that's a great trivia piece. And look at how fucking how perfect it is that now everybody does wear Crocs. We're here in the future. We basically just had a WWE style promo cut on each other at a fucking presidential debate and about golf. Like this we have become idiocracy. This is the end of it.
I feel like we're getting super close to just at this point. Anybody that has any kind of social status, like The Rock, I think that is a very real possibility that this motherfucker may get voted in as president just based on the principle that he's popular.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. If Trump was smart, he'd pick The Rock to be his vice fucking president.
Well, and I saw a TikTok that really kind of hit home of where I was coming is like, hey, like DNC, you need to figure out like Biden can't do this.
He's not going to last.
Like
4 years.
it literally, he can't do this. He is physically and mentally incapable of running this country. But where is someone going to get the money to start running now? They'd have no time at all. And that's what's sad. We're in such a capitalist fucking country that a person with genuinely good ideals and thoughts and would actually be able to do this job won't be able to do it because they don't have the funding to put ads out there or to prove or get airtime.
Yeah. So
because they don't have the popular vote. It's sad.
I think the money wasted on campaigns as well should be just eliminated altogether, and everything should be done online and no cross country bullshit. Because that all the money wasted on just campaigning and shit, who the fuck knows what that could have been used for? Is for
homeless, vets. I mean,
literally everything.
Drug rehabilitation, like anything you could think of.
Elon Musk wants to sit here and buy fucking Twitter. Well, you know what, Elon? Why don't you do something fucking useful with it? And why don't you make a goddamn social media app that is literally just for politicians to run on? So then that's it.
Everybody gets their say. They can say what they want. Their people can follow them. They have equal time to do whatever the hell they want with. And it's only just for that. It's just for politicians to run. So no one has to make it illegal for them to run ads, make it illegal for them to post signs. All you can do is go on this fucking app and you can
And
state
talk
your case.
about why you are good.
Yeah. And convince everybody
Talk
that way.
about what you would do.
Yeah. Which is why I think we should go to the draft system of politics. It should no longer should people be elected. It should be a draft system where people get drafted and hey, for 4 years or whatever the number is, you're going to come and you're going to serve
Well, my
as your
mom always
congressman.
said that everyone should do like a 6-year term and that be it. Like no 2-term presidents. She said, because in 4 years, you can't do shit really because of how our political system is. And she, like you guys hit the nail on the head. First 4 years is literally trying to get reelected.
Yep. And the second
So
4
you're
years.
not doing shit.
Yeah. And the second 4 years is planning out your library and what your legacy is going to be.
No,
That's it.
literally. Like, so if everyone's like, you get 6 years and that's fucking it, like, no second term, you have just this amount of time, get your shit done.
I will say on a side note about the libraries here in Southern California, we have at least, I think 2. We have Reagan and we have Nixon.
Yeah.
Those 2 are both very good. If you've never been, you should go and check them out. I haven't been in like many years, but they're very fucking interesting. A lot of history there, a lot of interesting things, and you should go check them out if you want to, see those. But anyways,
I mean,
Hard pass.
I mean, I feel like we're kind of wrapping up, and I just want to, as funny as it is, and as silly as it is, and as entertaining, quote unquote, as it is, we really need to sit back and look and go, how fucking terrifying this is. How scared this is for our kids. How scared this is for our future. Like, this is shit not okay.
Oh, no,
like,
it's
if
not.
anybody can look at this and go, this is great. These are the 2 perfect people. That's fucking terrifying. And that out of the hundreds of millions of Americans, we only are choosing from 2.
yeah, and think about this: if Biden wins or if Trump wins, whoever is potentially going to be Kamala Harris is the vice presidential nominee for Biden, obviously, right? And then we don't know who's going to be for Trump yet, but likely both of those individuals will have never served as or be ready to be the president of the United States. Kamala Harris has essentially 1 term in the federal government as being vice president under her belt because she will likely be called upon. I don't know how long, a year, 2 years into this, but if Biden wins, she will likely be called upon because he will not be mentally cognitive to run the country, and she will be called upon to be the president of the United States.
And I really feel like if Trump wins, and I'm not being this to be entertaining or facetious or silly, if Trump wins, the country's going to burn down.
I think that whoever wins this election is likely, there's a high probability, in my opinion, that they will be the last American president of this, the way we do this, because I think things are going to fucking change. There's going to be an upheaval either way.
Western forces unite.
Yeah, Western forces.
Yeah, Civil War, man. Apparently, the 2 largest states in the country unite, and we win the war amongst all the factions within the U.S. We were the top dog.
And then they kill Ron Swanson at the end of the movie. I will say that how crazy that movie could actually become a documentary. Like,
yeah. Oh man, a glimpse into the future.
I mean, the reality is, if you write this shit down and made it into a movie, no one would buy it because it's just too surreal. No one would believe it.
I think if you want to do that 20 years ago, it would be completely insane. But now that movie Civil War came out for a reason, because that's kind of on the table here, I think.
Yeah, I don't know if I call it witchcraft or what you want to call it, but I think the fact that people have that in their minds about a civil war and it just keeps getting spoken into, that it might actually fucking happen.
Well, I will tell you right now, and this is a video and audio, well, not video, audio proof, that if Trump does win again, I am going out there, because he would not let me do it last time because our child was too small. I'm going to be out there marching on those streets.
Yep, and I'll be right there with the Game Rage magazine documentary and press
I
conference and
want
press
this
pass.
written down as proof that he has said I could do this.
Oh, and I'll be right there with you
Come
documenting.
look for me. I'll be the one with the red hair.
I will be the also red-haired ginger person next to her talking
Mine
and
just
documenting
died.
it.
His is ginger.
Yeah, and trying to not die. So
If there's a girl with big boobs, glasses, and red hair, it's me.
yeah, so interesting. All right, well, you got anything else to say in conclusion or wrapping up? I only have 2 words to say, but y'all let you guys go ahead.
No, I don't have anything
Nothing?
else to say. Yeah, I think I got everything out.
You gotta know?
I'm exhausted
Well,
with this
in closing, the only two words that come to mind that I think perfectly summarize this whole situation is "we're fucked."
I mean,
I thought you were going to
you
say
just suck
Ultra Guillotine.
Oh, Ultra Guillotine, yeah. But we're fucked because Ultra Guillotines. That's what's going to happen, and we're fucked. That's just the bottom line.
God bless America, land that I hate.
Yeah. So is this a wrap?
Yeah, this will be the wrap. So, anyways, all right. Well, as we say on every episode, if you want to listen, you can go to GameRageMagazine.com to hear all of our multitudes of podcasts. You can go to @GameRageMagazine on Instagram and TikTok to follow us there and hear all of our previews for all our episodes. If you want to go to Twitter/X, if you're into that sort of thing, we're @GameRageMag there. And I guess thank you guys for listening, and stay tuned. We're going to be talking about this more. There's another debate coming in September, so I'm very interested to see how that's going to fucking go. So we'll see what happens then.
If they make it till September.
We'll see. Anyways, all right. Well, thank you guys for listening. We'll catch you on the next one.